All right. Welcome everybody to the Bald Eagle Podcast. I am Sean Cressman. I am the Bald Eagle. So the Bald Eagle Podcast, if you haven't watched or listened to it, is a 100% Philadelphia Eagles podcast. There are some exceptions. We're going to experience one of those exceptions in a week because the Eagles did not make the playoffs. And I don't want to stop doing my podcast. So we're going to have the Bald Eagle Podcast playoff edition starting next week. And as a reminder, we're started going live. So we will be live at 6 p.m. on Wednesdays, from 6 to 7:30-ish. I go as long as I can. So, all right. So last episode of the Bald Eagle Podcast, regular edition. It is Wednesday, January 6th. We just finished week 17 of the NFL regular season. Now, moving into rules on my wonderful podcast. Number one rule, no politics. We avoid politics 100%, even though a lot of stuff is going on right now. I don't want to talk about it. Hopefully if you follow me or watch or listen, you appreciate the fact that none of that stuff comes up. Okay. Number two, no personal information. When I say that, I'm talking about personal player information. I find it extremely annoying when Fox NFL Sunday interviews a player and asks him about his family and things like that. And I'm not trying to be insensitive, but all I care about is the Eagles and their performance on the field. And most of that stuff doesn't impact that. And lastly, I'm not censored. And by the way, if I'm not streaming on YouTube yet, but I'm trying to get there. I'm not necessarily, I don't know a lot of these systems yet, but I am not censored. And I'm not, so on YouTube, I'm not an adult or a child's thing because I say whatever the fuck I want. Okay. The Bald Eagle Podcast does a countdown every episode. We can't count down to our next game, but we can count down to the playoffs. So the playoffs start in 3 days this weekend. We have 6 games, which is going to be difficult to watch all 6 in one day, which I usually do. But Saturday at 1:05, the 7 seed Colts are at number 2 seed Bills, and that's on CBS. At 4:40, the number 6 seed Rams are at the number 3 seed Seahawks, and that's on Fox. At 8:15 on Saturday, the number 5 Bucks are at number 4 Washington Football Team, and that's on NBC. That should be an interesting one. I honestly don't think Washington has a chance, but you never know. Then we have a Sunday slate of 3 games. It's Sunday at 1:05. The number 5 seed Ravens are at number 4 Titans. That's on ESPN. At 4:40, the number 7 Chicago Bears are at the number 2 seed Saints on CBS. And lastly, Sunday night at 8:15, the 6 seed Cleveland Browns are at the 3rd seed Pittsburgh Steelers on NBC, which is a rematch of the last game of the season, which the Pittsburgh Steelers pulled most of their starters and purposefully tanked the game. Interesting. Anyway, so we'll move on to the 2020 NFC East standings, the final standings. So most of you are probably aware that Dallas lost to the Giants. That was awesome. Sort of. We'll get to that in a minute. And of course we lost to the Washington Football Team. So Washington led the division 7-9. They went into the playoffs with a 1-game win streak, courtesy of us. The New York Giants ended the season 6-10 on a one-win streak. The Cowgirls ended 6-10, a 1-loss streak. And then the good old Philadelphia Eagles ended the season 4 wins, 11 losses, 1 tie, and a 3-game lose streak. Way to go for us. Now, I mentioned real quick about not being real excited that the Giants beat the Cowgirls, only because that would have given us the opportunity to stop them from going to the playoffs, even though we stopped the Giants, and I know they're all pissed off about it, which I find amazing that a 6-10 team would complain that they didn't make the playoffs because of somebody else. I find that to be one of the most ignorant things. I don't even have words for how ridiculous I think it is that a 6-10 team is complaining they didn't make the playoffs because we not purposefully tanked, but didn't perhaps we didn't play our starters like everybody else does. Anyway, let's get to the drive highlights. All right, so we start the game. Washington, they won the toss. They elected to defer, so we received the first kickoff. So we get a 1st and 10 on our 25 with 15 minutes in the first quarter. Hurts is back in the gun, empty backfield, drops back, good protection, looks down the midfield, which freezes the safety, turns right, throws a deep pass to Boston Scott, who has a step on their linebacker Holcomb. Unfortunately, it's an overthrown ball. Good play by Hurts. Good job by looking off the safety, by freezing him. Just a little overthrown. So, and to cut to the chase, we are all pretty aware that Hurts did have a rough game. you'll find if you listen to the whole podcast or if you went through every play like I did, his game wasn't as bad as everybody made it out to be. So that incompletion brings up a 2nd and 10 on our 25. This time Hurts is in the shotgun, runs an RPO, keeps it, gets 2 yards. Fortunately, it was tackled by Holcomb, who was nice enough to commit unnecessary roughness. So we get another 15 yards on that play. So that brings us to a 1st and 10 on our own 42. We run Boston Scott to the left end for 6 yards, brings up a 2nd and 4 on our 48. This time we run Boston Scott to the left again for 2 yards. 3rd and 2 on midfield. Boston Scott again to the right. Unfortunately, this time he doesn't get any yards, so we have to punt. Washington starts to drive 1st and 10 on their 9 with 12 minutes and 32 seconds left in the first quarter. Smith throws a short pass to Gibson for 6 yards, brings up a 2nd and 4 on Washington's 15. Gibson's off the right side for 3 yards to Washington's 18, brings up a 3rd and 1. This time they run Barber on the left side for 3 yards, just dink and dunking down the field. Brings up a 1st and 10 on Washington's 21. This time Smith is in the shotgun. He drops back, throws a short pass to Sims, only for a yard though. Kayvon Wallace does an excellent job making an open field tackle almost immediately after Sims catches the ball. So that 1 yard gain brings up a 2nd and 9 on Washington's 32. They run Gibson this time to the left for 1 yard, brings up a 3rd and 8 on Washington's 23. Alex Smith is in the gun. He drops back. This time we rush 5, but we're not able to get any pressure. We're in man, which is much better than when we're in zone. Unfortunately, Countess, who I should have looked up, I'm not real familiar with, is covering McKissick out of the backfield. Gives him a nice 13-yard cushion. McKissick runs out of the backfield, cuts across the field away from Countess, and he's wide open. By the time Countess can catch up to him, Alex Smith has thrown the ball. He's gained 10 yards, and Washington has a 1st and 10 on their own 33. And that was a 3rd and 8 that we were unable to stop them on. So that completion brings it to 1st and 10 on Washington's 33. They run Gibson this side to the right, and to the right side gets 6 yards, brings up a 2nd and 4 on Washington's 39. This time they run Sims to the right end. It's a misdirection play. Ostman, who, if you recall, was the defensive end who got stiff-armed on his, I think, one and only play that he had a few games ago. He cuts too far inside, and Sims is able to run right around him out of bounds for an 18-yard gain. So obviously it's important for those ends to keep contained. He doesn't do it, and that's an 18-yard run. So that brings up a 1st and 10 on our 43. Smith is back. He passes again, this time a tight end screen to Thomas, gains another 18 yards. Ostman, again, doesn't recognize that it's a screen, keeps going towards Smith, which frees up their tight end Thomas. He's wide open, and they have some pretty good blocking set up downfield, unfortunately. So it's another 18-yard gain. So before you know it, they got a 1st and 10 on our 25. They run Gibson up the middle. This time, no gain. Alex Singleton, who I think has emerged as one of the better, I think probably one of the best run stopping linebackers we have, sheds a block and is able to tackle Gibson for no gain. So good play by him. So that brings up a 2nd and 10 on our 25. Alex Smith's in the gun again. He drops back. We're in zone, which we are horrible at. We run a stunt to our right. We drop Graham in coverage, and Epps come and blitz. Jackson's able to get an inside move on their center, Royer. I don't know, Royer, and get a free run at Smith. Smith rolls to his right. Jackson's gaining, forces Smith to throw an inaccurate pass to McLaurin, who was open. Good job by Jackson to pressure, and the whole defensive line to pressure Smith, causing a poor throw because he was open. So that incompletion brings up a 3rd and 10 on our 25. Smith's in the gun again, empty backfield. He has 3 receivers to his left. We're in man. Countess is covering the far receiver Sims, and the two corners that are to his left are closer to the line of scrimmage than he is. He's the deep guy, Countess. The 2 inside receivers run streaks, so they run straight down the field. The outside receiver starts to run a streak and then cuts inside right as underneath those 2 streaking routes, meaning that both those routes are in the way of Countess to cover him, leaving him wide open again. Of course, Alex Smith finds him. Alex Smith throws an accurate pass, and it's a 16-yard gain on 3rd and 10. They get a 1st and goal at our 9. 1st and goal at our 9. We decide to jump off sides, give them another 5 yards. Why not? So that gives them 1st and goal on our 4. This time Gibson runs to the right. He loses 6 yards. Hargrave does a great job beating their center, Royer, again. inside. He has a clean shot at Gibson. He has a shot at him around the 14-yard line, but isn't able to tackle him. Fortunately, he slows him down, and our defense, specifically Arnold, is able to catch up and stop him. Still a 6-yard loss on first and goal on our 4, so that brings up a 2nd and goal from our 10. Smith shows a short pass, this time on the right side for 5 yards to Sims. Brings up a 3rd and goal on our 5. Smith this time throws another short pass on the left. We bring 4. We can't get pressure. McLaurin runs an out pattern. For those of you that are aware, out or crossing patterns are difficult to cover. Arnold doesn't do a very good job in coverage. Alex Smith throws a good pass right in front of McLaurin, where Arnold couldn't even get to it. It's a 5-yard touchdown pass, and that makes the score 7-0. The Washington football team. That was a 15-play, 91-yard drive, and took 8 minutes and 13 seconds off the clock. We get the ball, 1st and 10 on our 25 after the kickoff. 4 minutes and 19 seconds left in the first quarter. Hurts is in the gun again, rolls to his right. Ertz basically doesn't block Chase Young, who probably is their best defender. Ertz completely lets Chase Young go right through him, who ends up Chase Young's able to put pressure on Hurts, who ends up throwing a poor pass to Ward. If it wouldn't have been for the pressure that Hurts got from that bad block by Ertz, he might have seen that Arcega-Whiteside was wide open down the middle of the field and possibly threw him the ball. And perhaps on that 1st and 10, it's not an incompletion, but it's a significant completion. So Zach Ertz, even the veteran guys had some rough plays, and Ertz had a struggle this game, and so frankly did Kelsey. So that incompletion brings up a 2nd and 10 on our 25. Hurts is in the gun again. He drops back. Offensive line provides him with good protection. There was a quick pass to Ertz, who's running a slant. It's an accurate timing throw. It's thrown right where it should be, when it should be. The problem is Ertz is spending most of his time hand fighting Curl. I think Ertz expected a pass interference call, but the whole time they're hand fighting. Ertz doesn't turn around to look for the ball, doesn't even see it coming, to the point where it goes right past him into Curl's arms for an interception. Again, back-to-back plays by Ertz here. First, he misses a block, and now he isn't even looking for the ball in a timing pattern, and because of that, it causes an interception. Now, I'm not going to say, that this was 100% Ertz's fault, but it was like 80% Ertz's fault. I mean, the goal and the proper play for Hurts is to throw that timing pattern quickly. So another bad play by Ertz, and a turnover, which is even worse. So the Washington football team gets the ball 1st and 10 on our 32 with 4 minutes and 8 seconds left in the quarter. They run McKissick to the left. He loses 3 yards. Vinny Curry, they leave unblocked, which is never a good idea. He runs right into the backfield and hits McKissick right after he gets the ball from Smith. Not able to make the tackle, but again, slows him down, and the rest of our defense is able to converge and tackle him for a 3-yard loss. So good play by not only Curry, but the rest of the defense. So that 3-yard loss brings up a 2nd and 13 on our 35. Smith this time throws a short pass to McLaurin, this time for 6 yards. We're in zone. They throw the ball underneath our zone. 6-yard pass completion. That brings up a 3rd and 7 on our 29. This time Smith in the shotgun again, throws a pass to his left to McLaurin, covered by Arnold, who uses poor mechanics. He's actually, while he's covering McLaurin, he takes a step to his right as McLaurin cuts left. So McLaurin was wide open again for that pass. Fortunately, it was only for 5 yards because Singleton was able to track him down. So that brings up a 4th and 2 on our 24. So they kick a field goal. Field goal is good. That makes the score 10-0 in favor of the Washington football team. That was a 4-play, 8-yard drive. Took 2 minutes and 6 seconds off the clock. All right, they kick the ball off. We start off 1st and 10 on our 25 with 2 minutes and 2 seconds left in the first quarter. Hurts is in the gun. He fakes to Scott, has good protection, looks off the safety, then throws a deep pass to Rager, who has a step on Fuller. It's not the best pass, and frankly, somewhat disappointing because up until this game, I thought anyway, Hurts' deep balls were very accurate. There were a couple that I think should have been, if we had better receivers, would have been caught and could have changed games, but they didn't. This is actually another situation very similar to that. The ball is short this time, though. Even so, Rager's able to get in position, jump up, get both hands on the ball. He just can't keep it all the way down. It gets knocked out of his hands. And that's the difference between an elite top wide receiver and the receivers that we have. I posted on my Bald Eagle Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter a clip of Arcega's-Whiteside's catch that I'll talk about, and I can't remember. And correct me if you know of one. I can't remember a time when we caught a contested catch, any of our receivers. And this is a situation he had in his hands. He should have caught it. It was a contested catch. He was known for contested catches in college, but he drops it. And the ball and he dropped it. Had he caught it, the ball would be at Washington's 38. That was roughly where the ball was caught. I didn't give him any yards after the catch because he was hit right away. So, in any case, that drop by, I'm considering it a drop by Rager. Fortunately, there was a defensive holding penalty. So we still have a 1st and 10 on our 30. We run Boston Scott this time to the left, no gain. So we have a 2nd and 10 on our 30 again, run Boston Scott again, also to the left, no gain. So we're stuck in a 3rd and 10 on our 30. Hurts is in the gun again. He drops back. Again, good protection. This time he throws a back shoulder pass to Arcega-Whiteside, who catches it, but can't keep both feet in bounds. Excellent catch. But and it's funny because if you watch the play again, Arcega-Whiteside thinks it was a completion because I don't think he realizes how far out of bounds he was, but he was very far out of bounds. Fortunately, he was being covered by Fuller, who commits a pass interference penalty. So we actually get a 1st and 10 on Washington's 49. Hurts is back in the gun again. He fakes to Scott, throws to Ward, who's in motion on his right-hand side. Greg Ward pulls up about to throw, but Moreland's right on his tail. Puts a really good move on Moreland to get him to miss him. Throws an accurate pass to Fulgham, who for no conceivable reason, catches the ball and steps out of bounds. And it's not, you don't get to watch these things over and over again like I do when you're watching the live broadcast. But it wasn't, you thought, oh, maybe he had been running towards the sideline and his momentum took him out. And that absolutely did not happen. His momentum took him forward. He actually did a great job there was nobody covering him, but he did a good job standing on the sideline and flashing open for Hurts, and Hurts throws a good ball. If he turns around and runs, I'm guessing he's got at least 10 yards ahead of him, but perhaps more. In any case, even after he went out of bounds, it was still a 15-yard completion. So that brings a 1st and and after that completion, that ends the first quarter. So starting the second quarter, we still have the ball. After that last play, it's 1st and 10 on Washington's 34. Hurts is in the gun again. He drops back. Initially, no one is open. The pocket collapses. He climbs through it well, which is something that Wentz was never able to do. Follows his offensive line blocking. Once through, he sees an open field and takes off. One of the things that I would say, and again, I'm going to criticize everybody, but the criticism towards Hurts it isn't the same because he's a rookie. And he's played 4 NFL games. So some of these things, specifically this one, making a point to focus downfield when you're scrambling, is something he will eventually learn and get better at. Something that a 5-year, $100 million veteran quarterback should already have perfected. So anyway, he misses Fulgham, who's open down midfield, but he's still able to run for 9 yards on 1st and 10. Still gets us a 2nd and 1 on Washington's 25. This time we run an RPO. Hurts keeps it, only gets a yard, but that's still a 1st down. So we got a 1st and 10 on Washington's 24. Hurts drops back, throws a short pass to Boston Scott. He had good protection. It was a quick, accurate pass. Boston Scott's able to get 9 yards, bringing up a 2nd and 1 on Washington's 15. This time Hurts is in the shotgun again. We run an RPO. So Pryor blocks down, leaving Chase Young completely unblocked. It didn't matter if Hurts kept the ball or if Hurts gave the ball to Scott. Either way, the person was going to get tackled immediately. Now, perhaps you would argue that he can give it to Scott because it's not a sack. But either way, the ball carrier, whoever it would be, is tackled immediately by Young, who was unblocked. So because Hurt kept it, that's technically a sack. Lost 5 yards and brings up 3rd and 6 on Washington's 20. Washington commits defensive holding. So that brings up 1st and 10 on Washington's 15. We run Boston Scott to the left for 8 yards, brings up 2nd and 2 on Washington's 7. We run Boston Scott up the middle for 1 yard. So that brings up a 3rd and 1 on Washington's 6. Hurts is in the gun again. He fakes to Scott. This time he rolls to his right, but nobody's open. Continues to roll, goes up the sideline. He's got one man to beat, their free safety Reeves. Puts a move on him and easily runs into the end zone for a 6-yard touchdown run. Good job by Jalen Hurts to run the ball in. So after that touchdown and successful extra point, the score is now 10-7. That was a 10-play, 75-yard drive, and it took 6 minutes and 44 seconds off the clock. We kick off. Washington gets the ball 1st and 10 on their own 25 with 10 minutes and 18 seconds left in the half. They run Gibson to the right for 11 yards, brings up a 1st and 10 on Washington's 36. This time, Alex Smith throws a pass to his right. We have excellent coverage downfield. No one's open. Defensive line starts to get some pressure, so he throws it away. So that brings up 2nd and 10 on Washington's 36. This time, Smith's in the gun again, throws a short pass over to McKissick, who's pushed out of down for 4 yards. That brings up 3rd and 6 on Washington's 40. This time, Smith's in the shotgun again, drops back. We have excellent coverage. Nobody's open. Smith moves in the pocket, but he trips as he moves up, and Williams is there to tackle him for a 5-yard loss. So good job by the secondary for not letting anybody be open, so he doesn't have anybody to throw to, and we're able to get that sack. So after that sack on 3rd and 6, which was a 5-yard loss, brings up 4th and 11. They punt. We get the ball 1st and 10 on our 35 with 8 minutes and 3 seconds left in the first half. Hurts in the gun again. Quick 7-yard pass off the right-hand side to Ertz. Good protection. Quick, accurate pass. Brings up 2nd and 3 on our 42. Hurts again in the gun. Drops back. Another 4-yard pass, this time to Ertz again, to the right-hand side. Again, good protection. Quick, accurate throw, which is what we need given the state of our offensive line, which I think entered the game with its 14th or 15th different starting lineup. So 2 quick, accurate, short passes to Ertz brings us to a 1st and 10 on our 46. Hurts is in the gun again. He drops back. Young beats our backup center Jiriga, who I'm not sure where Kelsey was on this play. I didn't go back and look because according to the stats, Kelsey played 100% of the snaps. In any case, Jiriga's in for him at center. Young beats him, able to put some pressure up the middle on Hurts. Hurts is able to stand in the pocket, throw an accurate pass to Rager, who's wide open to his right. So good job by Hurts throwing a pass in the face of pressure. That was a 15-yard completion, so that gives us a 1st and 10 on Washington's 39. We run Huntley this time to the left end for no gain, unfortunately, so that brings up a 2nd and 10 on Washington's 39. This time is a planned run by Hurts. He runs to the right side, and he gets 3 yards. Brings up a 3rd and 7 on Washington's 36. Hurts is in the gun again. He drops back. Washington's brings 4, and then late brings a quarterback blitz with Moreau, who has a clean shot at Hurts. Hurts does an excellent job stepping up in the pocket to avoid him. Following his offensive line blocking, he sees Arcega-Whiteside down the field, plants, throws a great ball to Arcega-Whiteside, who jumps up and catches that contested catch with both hands. Curl is on his back. Curl tries to get the ball, but Arcega-Whiteside moves it out of the way. He maintains control. Excellent catch. Excellent job by Hurts to scramble in the pocket. An excellent throw. That throw gives us a 1st and goal on Washington's 6-yard line. Hurts is in the shotgun again. Again, nobody's open. Pocket starts to collapse. He sees Green in the middle, guns it, and and is able to run for 6 yards and a touchdown. So that second Hurts run brings the score, and we're successful with our extra point. That brings the score to 14-10 in favor of the Philadelphia Eagles. That was a 7-play, 65-yard drive. Took 4 minutes and 9 seconds off the clock. All right, we kick off. Washington starts the next drive, 1st and 10 on their 22, with 3 minutes and 49 seconds left in the first half. Smith throws a short pass right to McLaurin for 5 yards, brings up a 2nd and 5 on Washington's 27. They run Gibson up the middle for no gain, brings up a 3rd and 5 on Washington's 27. This time, Smith is back in the gun. He drops back. We blitz Singleton. He runs right over the running back and is able to grab Smith for a sack and an 8-yard loss. Excellent play by Singleton. And that 8-yard loss on 3rd and 5 brings up a 4th and 13. So the Washington team has to punt. We get that punt at our 26, 1st and 10, with 1:52 left in the first half. Hurts in the shotgun again, throws an incomplete pass over to, Hurts is in the gun. Watkins is in motion. He's moving to his left. Hurts fakes the toss to Watkins, rolls to his right, looking downfield on the right-hand side of the field, drawing the secondary, the safety, all towards the right of the field, something that Wentz did not do. He turns to his left, throws an accurate screen pass to Watkins, who was kind of hiding behind all of the people on the left-hand side. Nobody was covering him. There was excellent blocking downfield. If Watkins catches this pass, I bet it's a touchdown, because Watkins, I think, was one of the quickest guys on the field. And the only person that could catch him was a safety, which would have to take a significant angle to get to him. So I'm betting if Watkins catches this ball, it is a touchdown. Unfortunately, it goes right through his hands. He drops it. So on that 1st and 10, there's an incomplete pass. So that brings up 2nd and 10 on our 26. Hurts in the shotgun again. This time he throws a pass to Arcega-Whiteside to the left-hand side. Unfortunately, Arcega-Whiteside slips when he's making his break. He's a little slow to get out of his break, which means that the pass is a little too far, and he can't grab it. So that incompletion brings up a 3rd and 10 on our 26. Hurts back in the gun again. This time he throws to Zach Ertz on the left-hand side. Another good pass. Ertz had his hand on it. In fact, he had both his hands on it, similar to the way that Arcega-Whiteside did when he caught it, similar to the way to Reagor did when he missed it. Hands on it, but Fuller knocks it out. So another dropped pass. So that dropped pass brings up 4th and 10 on our 26. So we punt. Washington starts their drive 1st and 10 on their 45 with 1:24 left in the half. Smith throws a short pass to McKissick for 4 yards, brings up a 2nd and 6 on Washington's 49. Smith this time is in the gun, throws a pass over to McKissick on the right. We have excellent coverage. He actually dumps it off to McKissick because he can't find anybody else to throw it to. Fortunately, McKissick drops it, so that's an incomplete pass. That brings up a 3rd and 6 on their own 49. Alex Smith drops back, throws a wide receiver screen to Sims. He's able to get 15 yards. That brings up a 1st and 10 on our 36. Smith in the gun again, throws a pass this time on the right-hand side to Sims for 6 yards. Brings up a 2nd and 4 on our 30. Smith is in the gun again, drops back. Hargrave is able to beat his man outside with a swim move, puts pressure on Smith, who's forced to throw a pass to Thomas, which is poor and incomplete. So that brings up a 3rd and 4 on our 30. Unfortunately, Hargrave is caught in the neutral zone, so there's a 5-yard penalty. So that means on 3rd and 4, we have now given him a 1st and 10 on our 25. Smith throws a short pass over the middle to Sims for 6 yards. They call their first timeout with 35 seconds left in the half. 2nd and 4 on our 19. Smith throws another short pass, this time to McKissick for 6 yards. I believe in both of those pass situations, we were in zone. And frankly, we're not a good zone team. And that's most likely, there was probably little spots underneath that were available. So that brings up a 1st and 10 for the Washington football team on our 13. This time, Smith is in the gun again. Singleton blitzes from the right, pressuring Smith, causes a bad pass. It's too high and it's incomplete. So that brings up 2nd and 10 on our 13. Smith in the shotgun again. We rush 4, unable to get any pressure. Edwards actually has pretty decent coverage on Thomas, who's in the back of the end zone. But what has happened numerous times over the season is our even some of our corners have good coverage. They just don't turn around and play the ball. I think the technique that they're trying to use is they focus more on the receiver. When the receiver or the tight end or whoever it is catches the ball, then the goal is to knock it out. And unfortunately, Edwards doesn't make a good enough play, doesn't see the pass, can't knock it out. So that pass to Thomas was a 13-yard pass from Alex Smith. It was a touchdown. They kicked the extra point, and it's good. That makes the score 17-14 in favor of the Washington football team. That was a 9-play, 55-yard drive that took 1 minute and 4 seconds off the clock. They kick the ball to us. It's a touchback, so we start the next drive 1st and 10 on our 25 with 20 seconds left in the half. Hurts drops back in the gun. No one's open, so he throws it away. 14 seconds left in the half. We run Boston Scott up the middle for 7 yards, and that ends the first half. All right, moving into the third quarter. We kick off. Washington gets the ball. They start the first drive of the second half, 1st and 10 on their 25. Gibson runs to the right-hand side for 4 yards, brings up a 2nd and 6 on Washington's 29. This time they run McKissick over to the right for 3 yards, brings up a 3rd and 3 on Washington's 32. Smith this time is in the shotgun. He drops back. We have excellent coverage. Nobody's open. Alex Smith tries to run, but Malik Jackson's there to catch him from behind. Good job by the secondary. Good job by Malik Jackson. That sack resulted in a 4-yard loss on 3rd and 3. So on 4th and 7, the Washington football team punts. We get the ball 1st and 10 on our own 28 with 12 minutes and 31 seconds left in the third quarter. We run Boston Scott to the left for 4 yards, brings up 2nd and 6 on our 32. Run Boston Scott to the right for 3 yards, brings up a 3rd and 3 on our 35. This time Hurts is in the shotgun. He throws a pass short right to Scott. Unfortunately, Young is going against Pryor, and he beats him outside. He forces Hurts to roll to his right. Hurts tries to throw a pass, but he's hit by Young as he's throwing, and it doesn't even make it to Scott, incomplete. So That incomplete pass turns into a 4th and 3 on our own 35, so we punt. Washington starts the next drive, 1st and 10 on their own 18 with 11 minutes and 2 seconds left in the third quarter. Smith in the shotgun throws a short pass to McLaren for 5 yards, brings up a 2nd and 5 on Washington's 23. Gibson up the middle for no gain, brings up a 3rd and 5 in Washington's 23 again. Smith in the gun, this time he's dropping back. We blitz, put pressure on Smith, nobody's open, he throws it away. So that brings up a 4th and 5 on Washington's 23. They punt. We get the ball 1st and 10 on our own 29 with 9 minutes and 32 seconds left in the third quarter. Hurts in the shotgun again, throws a pass to the right side to Greg Ward. Pass was slightly behind Ward, allowing Moreau to knock it down. So it was a bad pass, a little short. Not too bad, or it would have been intercepted. So an incomplete pass brings up a 2nd and 10 on our 29. We run Boston Scott up the middle. This time we were able to break open a wide hole. He's able to run for 20 yards and a 1st and 10 on our 29. This time Hurts is in the shotgun. We run a screen to Clement, who's able to get 7 yards. Brings up a 2nd and 3 on our 44. This time Hurts laterals to Hightower, who's looking to pass, but nobody's open, so he has to run around. He's able to get 1 yard. So that brings up a 3rd and 2 on Washington's 43. We run Hurts up the middle this time for 4 yards on a 3rd and 2. So we convert. That's a 1st and 10 on Washington's 39. Hurts throws a short pass to Huntley, unfortunately for no gain. He's hit immediately, I believe, by Holcomb. Brings up a 2nd and 10 on Washington's 39. This time Hurts is in the gun, drops back, no one's open. Pocket starts to collapse, so he has to scramble. He's able to get the 3 yards, so that brings up a 3rd and 7 on Washington's 36. Hurts is in the gun this time. He drops back. Young beats our right tackle Toth outside. He's obviously not a starter. Putting pressure on Hurts. Hurts does an excellent job avoiding Young and rolls to his right, directs Watkins, who turns around, flashes his hands, puts both feet on the sideline. Hurts throws a perfect pass for Watkins to catch as he's falling out of bounds. It hits Watkins right in his hands, but he drops it. So another drop. This drop was a drop on 3rd and 7 when we were on Washington's 46. I'm sorry, 36. So he was definitely past the first down marker. I think it was a good 12 or 13 yard completion had he caught the ball. So that means we would have 1st and 10 on Washington's, 25, 24, whatever. Big drop. And again, remember these things when you consider Jalen Hurts' stats. So we got a 4th and 7 on Washington's 36. We line up to try and set them off sides, but they don't move. So we get a delay of game. That's 4th and 12 on Washington's 41. So we punt. So Washington gets the ball 1st and 10 on their 20. 4 minutes and 58 seconds left in the third quarter. Smith's in the gun. He drops back. We rush 4. Curry's able to get inside their left tackle, Lucas, put pressure on Smith, who dumps the ball off to McKissick. The throw's high. It allows Epps to close in quickly. And not only does Epps hit McKissick right as the ball gets there, but he is able to somehow catch it. And I watched all the replays from the broadcast. I watched the coach's film. I don't know exactly how he was able to get that ball from him, but excellent play by Epps. Excellent play by Epps for a takeaway, something that we needed a lot earlier on in the season. So that interception, that takeaway by Epps gives us the ball 1st and 10 on Washington's 15. We run Boston Scott to the left for 6 yards, brings up a 2nd and 4 on Washington's 9. We run Boston Scott to the left again for 3 yards, brings up a 3rd and 1 on Washington's 6. This time we run Boston Scott to the left for 1 yard. So on that 3rd and 1, we convert, brings up 1st and goal on Washington's 5. This time we run Clement up the middle. He gets 1 yard. So we got a 2nd and 4, 2nd and goal on Washington's 4. Hurts in the shotgun again, drops back. No one's open, so he throws the ball away. Brings up a 3rd and 4, a 3rd and goal again on Washington's 4. Hurts in the shotgun again, drops back. This time he has a bunch of time. Nobody's open, ends up throwing the ball away. So then we got a 4th and 4, 4th and goal on Washington's 4-yard line. We go for it. Hurts is in the gun. He drops back. Nobody's open. He's got excellent protection. He's standing back there, bouncing around, looking, but nobody gets open. Eventually, the pocket's going to break down, and it does. He starts rolling to his left. And this is this play that everybody criticized his arm strength, and everybody kind of pointed to this play as him possibly not being, an elite quarterback or the future of the Eagles, which, we're not going to really, we might talk a little bit about it later. But this pass, he was backpedaling while he was throwing it. And I don't think anybody hit him, but somebody was awfully close. So he might have pulled back on the ball a little bit to avoid hitting his head on somebody. But honestly, it was a poor pass. It's too short, falls incomplete, was a bad pass. Should have done better. However, let's not ignore the fact that he was being pressured. Nobody was open for a while, and he has made some, and the receivers aren't exactly holding up their end of the bargain either. All right, so that failed attempt on fourth down gives Washington the ball, 1st and 10 on their own 4. Smith in the shotgun again. We're in zone. Slay gives McLaurin a good 7+ cushion, which I don't understand when we have them backed up on their own 4, but whatever. So Smith's able to find McLaurin on a short pass to the right-hand side for 11 yards and a 1st and 10 on their own 15, giving him some breathing room. They run Barber to the left for 8 yards, brings up a 2nd and 7 on their own 18. This time, Smith is in the shotgun. They run a tight end screen to Thomas. He's able to get 6 yards. That ends the third quarter. So we begin the fourth quarter. 3rd and 1, Washington has the ball on the 24 with 15 minutes left in the game. They run Barber to the left this time for a yard, brings up a 1st and 10 on Washington's 25. This time they run Barber to the left for 3 yards, brings up a 2nd and 7 on Washington's 28. This time Smith is in the shotgun. He drops back, throws a short pass to McLaurin for 3 yards, brings up a 3rd and 4 on Washington's 31. This time McKissick's in the gun again. He drops back. McKissick beats Singleton in out of the backfield, and Smith throws an accurate pass to him. Fortunately, McKissick drops it. So lucky on that play. So that incompletion brings up a 4th and 4. Washington punts. This is when we replace Jalen Hurts with Nate Sudfeld. So we're in the fourth quarter, 1st and 10. We have the ball on our 11. There was a holding penalty on the punt. I'm not exactly sure. I don't know. It says a holding penalty. It was a 10 yards and we're forced on our 21. So I'm not sure when it was and why. It must have been after the punt. Anyway, we're backed up on our 11, 1st and 10 with 12 minutes and 35 seconds left in the game. Sudfeld is in the shotgun. Throws a pass. Backs up. Nobody's open. Throws the ball away. So that incompletion brings up 2nd and 10 on our 11. We run Huntley to the left for 5 yards. Call a timeout. Brings up 3rd and 5 on our 16. Sudfeld is in the gun. He drops back, looks in Hightower's direction, and then throws a deep pass, slightly overthrown. The pass, I don't know. I wouldn't say that was the problem. It wasn't the worst pass in the world. However, he does stare Hightower down. Something else that if you remember, Wentz did very often. So because he stared and stared down Hightower, and he looked in his direction, even before throwing the pass, the safety basically read his face, read his eyes, was able to get a step on it, and was able to pick it off. Actually was had a better position than Hightower. So the point about that is that when we're thinking about elite quarterbacks and who's going to be the future of the Philadelphia Eagles, being able to look off safeties is a pretty important thing. It makes and had this pass been slightly more accurate, it would have been the difference of an incomplete or possibly intercepted pass and a touchdown or a long reception, just by looking to the opposite side of the field or midfield. And then looking and throwing at the receiver you want to do, but again, is something that Hurts was doing very well. All right, so that interception gives Washington the ball, 1st and 10 on their 45 with 11 minutes and 37 seconds left in the game. They run Gibson to the right end. He actually gets 12 yards. Washington had really good downfield blocking. We couldn't shed any of those blocks, so the 12-yard run brings up a 1st and 10 on our 43. They run Gibson to the left for 2 yards, brings up a 2nd and 8. On our 41, Smith is in the gun again. He drops back. Avery's able to bull rush their left tackle Lucas, pushes him into Smith, just barely bumping him as he's releasing the ball, causing the pass to be short. Meanwhile, Edwards is covering Thomas, but of course he's in a trail position. He's a step or so behind. Because the pass is short, it goes right to Edwards. Excellent luck by Edwards. Good play by Avery to force the early short throw. So we have another interception. So Edwards picks that ball off. So we get the ball 1st and 10 on our 41 with 10 minutes and 15 seconds left in the game. Sudfield throws a short pass to Ertz for 5 yards, brings up a 2nd and 5 on our 46. Sudfield's in the gun. The snap is low, and he's not able to catch it. Young is able to recover the ball at our 25. So we fumble and give it up to the Washington football team. Bad snap by Kelsey. Another mistake by a veteran. So that gives the Washington football team the ball 1st and 10 on our 25 with 9 minutes and 34 seconds left in the game. They run Gibson for 2 yards, but there's a holding penalty. So that brings up a 1st and 20 on our 35. They run Gibson again up the middle, this time for 5 yards. Brings up a 2nd and 15 on our 30. This time Smith is in the gun. He drops back, tries to throw to Thomas, but Arnold's able to jump up and knock down at the line of scrimmage. He was running a safety blitz. So we got a 3rd and 15 on. They got a 3rd and 15 on our 30. Smith drops back and throws a screen to McKissick. He's able to get 6 yards, but not enough for a 1st down. Good job by our defense to keep him underneath. So that 4th and 9, they try a field goal, 42 yards, and it's good. So that makes the score 20-14 in favor of the Washington football team. That was a 4-play, 1-yard drive. Took a minute 52 seconds off the clock. They kick off. We get the ball 1st and 10 on our 25, 7 minutes and 42 seconds left in the game. Boston Scott runs to the right for 4 yards, brings up a 2nd and 6 on our 29. Sudfield's in the shotgun, drops back, has good protection, throws a quick, accurate pass to Watkins, but he drops it. 3rd and 6 on our 29. Sudfeld throws another pass, this time to Arthega-Whiteside. He had good protection. It was a quick, accurate throw. Good route and catch by JJ. It was a 10-yard completion, brings up a 1st and 10 on our 39. Sudfeld's in the gun again. He drops back. No one's open. Their Sweat beats our Toth on the outside. Sudfeld tries to scramble, but is caught from behind for a sack and a 13-yard loss. So that brings up a 2nd and 23 on our 26. We run a screen to Boston Scott for 5 yards. Brings up a 3rd and 18 on our 31. Sudfeld's in the gun again. He drops back. Bostic blitzes right up the middle. And I'm not sure exactly what happened because Kelsey doesn't block anyone. It's not like he was double teaming with one of the other, with the guy who was left or right. He was standing there looking around. And while he's doing that, looking over to his left, Bostic essentially runs right by him, untouched, right up the middle, and is able to get to Sudfeld for a sack. I mean, there's being untouched. I don't know. I mean, perhaps Hurts or some, Lamar Jackson or some more elusive quarterbacks could have gone away from him, but not Sudfeld. Probably not Wentz. Probably not, 25 or so of the 32 starting NFL quarterbacks could have gotten out of that. So on that 3-yard loss sack, it's 4th and 21. We punt. So Washington gets the ball 1st and 10 on their 25 with 4 minutes and 28 seconds left in the game. They run Gibson to the left for 2 yards, brings up a 2nd and 8 on their 27. They run Gibson again, this time to the right for 13 yards, brings up a 1st and 10 on their 40. This time Smith's under center. They fumble the snap, but unfortunately they're able to fall on it, but they do lose a few yards. So it brings up 2nd and 14 on their 36. They run Gibson to the right for 4 yards. That brings up a 3rd and 10 on their own 40. They run Gibson up the middle for 9 yards. That brings a 2-minute warning. So we got a 4th and 1. We got around midfield on their 49. They're about to run. They're in an I formation. Everybody's bunched. I'm assuming they're going to run. And McGill decides to be in the neutral zone. So that is a 6-yard penalty. I'm not sure how it turns out to be a 6-yard penalty, but in any case, it brings up 1st and 10. They convert on that 4th down, 1st and 10 on our 45. They run Gibson to the right, this time for 5 yards. Brings up a 2nd and 5 on our 40. Run Gibson to the right for 1 yard. We call a timeout. 1 minute and 49 seconds left in the game. 3rd and 4 on our 39. They run Gibson to the right for 3 yards. Washington calls a timeout. 1 minute and 2 left in the game. 4th and 1. And they punt. I guess they needed more time to punt. So we get the ball. 1st and 10 on our 8 with 56 seconds left in the game. Sudfeld throws a short pass to Ward for 6 yards. 2nd and 4 on our 14. Sudfield's in the gun. He drops back. This time nobody's open. Scrambles, throws it away. Brings up a 3rd and 4 on our 14. Another incomplete pass, this time on the left-hand side to Scott. 4th and 4 on our 14. He in the gun again. No one's open. Pocket collapses. So he actually scrambles for 12 yards on 4th and 4. So good play by Sudfeld. Brings up a 1st and 10 on our 26. Sudfeld this time throws a deep pass to Hightower, incomplete. 2nd and 10 on our 26, 11 seconds left. Another drops back in the gun. No one's open, throws it away. And then on the last play of the game, 3rd and 10 on our 26, Sudfeld throws a short pass over the middle to Watkins for 6 yards. So that ends the game. Final score, 20-14 in favor of the Washington football team. Not a real good game. So some game notes. One thing that I feel strongly about is that a lot of people are saying that Hurts had a horrible game and that he's not the future. And I'm not necessarily saying it he is, but I wouldn't say that Hurts had a horrible game. He didn't have as good of a game as he had historically in the last 3 starts. But if you take out, so he ended the game 7 for 20, which means he completed 35% of his passes. Horrible. He only threw for 72 yards. He didn't have any touchdowns throwing. He had 1 interception. So he had a horrible quarterback rating of 25.4. Now, he was only sacked 1 time for 5 yards, which if you remember pre-Hurts, we were 3, 4, 5 sacks a game. He also had 8 rushes for 34 yards, which is a 4.3 average, and he did have 2 running touchdowns. But if you figure out, I just added up a couple of misplays, and now I'm just assuming that the people that he threw the ball to, they just caught it. Not that I'm not adding significant extra yardage than what I think is possible, and I'm assuming that nothing else changed in the game. And of course, we know that wouldn't be the case. But so of course he had a rough game. But don't forget that one of the his early interception was because Ertz wasn't looking, right? Not necessarily his fault. There's also a missed block by Ertz, if you recall, causing an errant throw. There was a throw to Rager who had both hands on the ball and dropped it. There was a throw to Fulgham that was completed, but he stepped out of bounds, and he could at least gotten an extra 10 yards. Watkins had, I think, 3 drop passes, 2 from Hurts and 1 from Sudfeld. He dropped that wide receiver screen that I'm very confident would have been a touchdown. He dropped that sideline pass that was thrown perfectly, hit him in the hands, that would have extended that drive. And then there was another pass on the sidelines that he dropped with Sudfeld. So if you take away the wide receiver mistakes, you consider that they caught the ball when they should have. If you give him an estimated amount of yards off those catches, his final numbers would have been closer to 11 completions out of 20 of attempts, 55% completion percentage, still not very good. However, much better than 35. And frankly, I personally am not looking for his completion percentage to be that high with everything else the way that it is, because A, he's throwing the ball away, and B, people are dropping him. He would have had around 172 yards. I think that screen to Watkins would have been a touchdown, so I'm giving him a touchdown. He wouldn't have had an interception if Ertz would have been paying attention. Adding all that up means his quarterback rating would have been roughly 100.42, significantly better than 25. So while he didn't have his best game and while he didn't have his average game, it wasn't just him. This is one of those instances where he was hurt by not only some bad blocking, some misblocking by some veterans in Ertz and Kelsey, but he was also hurt by poor receivers. Some things that we failed on against Washington in almost every game we've played. Our defense struggles with misdirection plays. I'm not sure. I mean, not that we won very many games, but I'm not sure why teams didn't run misdirection more on us. We can't cover crossing routes. I mentioned that, and now we're using these are newer corners that don't have a lot of time, but even the experienced ones would get caught up if there was trips left or right, and two of the routes would go deep and one would cut loose. No one would ever be able to cover that one guy. I think in all the games that I've watched every one, and I've watched every single play of every game at least 3 times. There might have been a handful, 2 or 3 times when receivers had crossing routes and we actually covered it well. And lastly, we struggle in zone coverage. Every time that we are in zone coverage, if our defense does not get to that, if our line does not get to the quarterback in time and mess things up, they easily find an open receiver and complete the pass. So this game, this time, Boston Scott had 15 carries for 65 yards. It was about 4.3 average. Receiver-wise, nobody had a decent game. Technically, Ertz had the most receptions. He had 3. He had 16 yards. Arcega-Whiteside only had 2 catches, but he had 40 yards, and he did lead the team in receiving yards. Something I thought that was interesting was Washington's play was their longest play was 18 yards. And now that this is, and we'll talk about this in a minute. I always talk about who had all of the snaps on both sides. So Sayamalu, Pryor, Toth, Herbig, and Kelsey all played 100% of the offensive snaps. Epps, Wallace, and Slay all played 100% of the defensive snaps. So let's talk quickly about them putting in Sudfeld a little bit into the fourth quarter. Let's talk about some actual facts confirmed by teammates. So there was a tweet that I sent out that was from Jason Kelsey that said that essentially that Doug Peterson had let them know he was going to play Sudfeld to get him some time, to get him some game action, that it was not a surprise. So when you hear those things from people like Miles Sanders, I think said that it was a shock or they were upset. And I think there was another player on the team that said the same thing. One of two things is happening. Either one, for some reason, they weren't involved in that decision-making or they weren't aware of that decision-making. Or number two, they just ignored it. Because I think even during the broadcast, Al Michaels mentioned that he discussed possibly he discussed things with Doug Peterson. And Peterson said to Al Michaels that he was going to put in Sudfeld for some playing time. So there's other people that say there should be an investigation and that this ruins the integrity of the game. And I think that couldn't be more ignorant. And I say that because, first of all, I don't know if you guys are aware, but Pittsburgh didn't play, I think, any of their starters against Cleveland. Not only did they not play any of their starters against Cleveland, but that game, I believe, and I didn't double check this, affected who they would play in the playoffs. So you could say, well, they were resting their starters and they rested them the whole game, so that doesn't count. Well, if you're going to argue that you can't pull somebody out in the middle of the game who admittedly hadn't been doing well, then why can't you argue if you're doing poorly and the goal in the NFL is to always win, why shouldn't you put in your starters to at least win the game? I think you could argue both sides. The whole thing about the integrity of the game, I think, is ignorant. The fact is that every player, while they were on the field, was playing to win. We didn't necessarily put our best players in, and it's a very common thing for almost every team to do at some point in the season, especially towards the end. And in fact, if you guys have time, you can Google. There's a Forbes article that supports and goes over all the instances and all the situations. I think there was even a team in the NFL that intentionally tanked a couple of times to get draft picks. So not unprecedented, does not ruin the integrity of the game. There shouldn't be any investigations, but I think it's ridiculous. People are getting too emotional, taking this too seriously. And on top of all that, let's consider this. Let's consider the fact that we're all upset. Or somebody's all upset that we didn't beat the Washington football team to allow the Giants to go to the playoffs when their record was 6-10. Why isn't there more outrage that a 6-10 team had the chance at making the playoffs? I remember when the first 8-8 or 7-9 team made the playoffs, and it was, oh my goodness, we should get rid of some of the wild card games. We should not allow as many people into the playoffs because now they have the ability to have a losing record and make it. All ridiculous in my opinion. I think I think if you're 6-10, I think the last thing you should be doing is pointing the finger at another team for your failures. And I think that's a horrible way to coach. I think it's a horrible precedent. And I think it's, that doesn't teach any personal responsibility as far as your coaching, as far as your play, it eliminates all personal responsibility for you to lose or for you to win the right amount of games to make the playoffs. And it blames other people. And it's in my opinion, completely ridiculous. And in a sport, a competitive sport, you are responsible 100% for your actions and the results of those actions. All right. That is the end of my my first live and my last regular season Bald Eagle podcast. Do me a favor and follow and like all my posts on the Bald Eagle. It is at Bald Eagle 4133 on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. I'm also part of the Notoriety Sports Network, and some of you might be watching this on their Facebook page. So follow all of Notoriety Sport Network's social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and then a subset of Notoriety Sports Network is NSN Philly. So follow them on everything, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Thanks for listening. Go Eagles.